Pops. Go, Carter. You should be the first one. Go.
You can't get too close.
Now let his kids go. Where's daughter?
MaxB is finally back on the streets after almost 16 long years locked down, fighting non-stop for his freedom, staying hopeful even when things kept going wrong again and again. Now the wave is officially home and the whole scene is buzzing. But somebody out there is not exactly celebrating. Word is that Jim Jones is feeling the heat because Max's comeback has dragged their old drama right back into the spotlight, and people online are already clowning him hard. The trolling is wild, and it's all landing straight on Jim's doorstep. Max hasn't even been home for 3 full days, and he's already everywhere you look. You hop on social media, and boom, there he is again. 1 minute he's in a jewelry shop checking out fresh chains, the next he's popping up at a birthday party with a crowd around him. Right after that, he's in the club turning up.
Val, New York.
Yes, sir.
Fresh out the can.
Damn.
Over 18 stretch.
Damn.
They gave me 7 and 5.
And then he shows up at a Jets game like it's nothing, almost like there's a camera squad glued to him every second. This is definitely not some quiet slide back home moment. Max jumped back into the spotlight full force, and he's loving every bit of it. People are loving this energy. MaxB's return is one of the most hyped homecomings hip-hop has seen in years, and fans have been waiting more than a decade for the wave to start moving again. So it totally makes sense that he's popping up everywhere, because he didn't just come home, he stepped out making headlines from the jump. He even proposed to his girlfriend just 1 day after walking out, turning his first 24 hours into a full-blown movie. But with all that excitement comes drama, because a comeback this loud is guaranteed to shake up old problems. People are already talking about past beefs, snitching rumors, jealousy, and everyone choosing sides. But the biggest storm right now is his long-running feud with Jim Jones. Jim has spent years trying to distance himself from anything connected to MaxB. He said it over and over in interviews that he doesn't want to discuss Max or be involved with anything related to him. In one interview, he even dropped a disrespectful line saying Foz, MaxB, then later added that while he might forgive someday, he'll never forget. That pretty much made it clear the door was shut. But now that Max is free and back in the spotlight, Jim's name was guaranteed to come up again. And it didn't take long at all. And out of everybody who could have sparked things back up, it was 50 Cent who stepped in and lit the match, and honestly, nobody was shocked by that. 50 Cent and Jim Jones already got their own long-running drama, so the second MaxB came home, it was the perfect setup for 50 to start trolling hard. And of course, he hit Instagram doing exactly what he's known for, stirring the whole scene up with one post. He dropped a meme from the movie Belly, showing the character Rico eating a banana, and labeled him as Jim Jones, basically hinting that Jim was out here acting like he was telling on people. Then 50 added his classic wild caption, saying something like, "Homie said Max home, it's packed in harbor, Jimmy about to drop a dime on these dudes, LOL." He even threw in a clip of MaxB on FaceTime with DJ Who Kid to keep the trolling going. And once 50 kicked it off, everyone else jumped in too.
MaxB when he gets out.
MaxB.
Okay.
Max, out of here. People don't play with me with that conversation. Ain't nobody can tell me nothing about that. That's the first thing I say. You heard?
Okay.
That's how you feel. That end the deal for anybody. There ain't no Max talking about conversation.
Bloggers, hip-hop pages, and fans across social media started adding their own comments, turning the whole situation into a fresh storm of drama. This wasn't just random noise. It was digging into a feud with a long, messy history. For anyone who doesn't know, the beef between Jim Jones and MaxB was never a small rap disagreement. It was deep, personal, and full of tension. Back in the mid-2000s, Jim and Max were moving like brothers, recording non-stop, running around Harlem together, and acting like nothing could break that bond. But before the world even knew him, Max had already lived a wild life. He had just come home in 2005 after serving 8 years on a robbery case, and once he touched down, he reintroduced himself as Max Bigavell, a name he created by mixing Biggie Smalls, Machiavelli, Tupac, and Jigga Jay-Z. When Max stepped back into Harlem, the whole city was buzzing, and the diplomats were running things heavy. The timing made everything feel larger than life. Cameron, Joel Santana, and Jim Jones had the whole city locked down, dropping anthem after anthem that shaped a whole era. Through Cam, Max linked up with Jim, and their chemistry was instant. They were meant to run the game together. Jim signed Max to his Bird Gang label and connected him with Harlem legend Dame Grease, and from that moment, things started moving fast. By 2006, Max dropped his first mixtape, $1 Million Baby, and it spread through the streets like wildfire. His raspy, melodic voice, his confidence, and that wavy style that nobody else could copy made him sound completely unique. At the same time, Bird Gang had another rising star, Stack Bundles. With MaxB and Stack both in his lineup, Jim Jones was sitting on a powerhouse duo, the kind of team other crews dreamed about. They were shaping the future of Harlem together. Max became the hidden weapon behind the hooks and melodies that made Jim's tracks explode, and songs like Baby Girl turned into neighborhood classics. People in the streets started whispering that Max was the real creative engine behind Jim's new sound, and that's when the tension started creeping in. As Max's name got bigger, his instincts from the streets kicked in harder, and that mix of fame and old habits pushed him into situations that would end up changing his whole life. Around this time, he was also dealing with his ex-girlfriend, Gina Conway, and things around them were getting complicated fast. Gina told Max about a flashy guy she knew named Alan J. Plowden, a dude living fast.
How you feel? How you feeling
I feel righteous.
Damn.
I'm feeling good.
You feeling good?
I
Feeling
know it
good.
is. I'm grateful.
Okay.
I'm thankful.
Love that. Love
God is
that.
good.
Pushing a risky mortgage and mail scam, riding in luxury cars, and throwing cash around like it never ran out. She claimed Max couldn't ignore the chance to make quick money, so he pushed the idea that they could hit a lick and walk away clean. The plan sounded simple: pull up to Plowden's hotel room, grab whatever money was inside, and dip without leaving any drama behind. Gina later said Max told her everything would be smooth and promised her all kinds of things if she helped him out. But the whole night went completely off track. Gina and Max's stepbrother, Kelvin Sims, were the ones who actually went to pull the plan off. They were supposed to slide into the room while Plowden was out partying, but everything went wrong right from the jump. They got lost on the way, missed exits, and wasted hours driving around looking for the place. By the time they finally reached the hotel in Fort Lee, Plowden was already back in his room, sleeping beside another woman. That messed up the whole setup, but things got even worse when another man named David Taylor walked in out of nowhere, someone who wasn't supposed to be part of any of this. Sims panicked, pulled out a gun, and fired, and the situation turned tragic fast. In an instant, what was supposed to be a robbery turned into a serious crime that changed everybody's life involved. After that night, everything fell apart fast. Gina was the first one the police grabbed, and once the pressure hit, she broke down completely. She gave investigators a 169-page statement, laying out every detail she had and pointing straight at Max as the person she believed came up with the plan. According to her, he was the one who pushed the idea and convinced her to roll with it, saying he'd take care of her if she helped. When things went wrong, she decided to protect herself by telling the authorities everything she knew. Once officials had her statement, they moved in on Max immediately. He was hit with multiple serious charges, including felony murder. Even though he wasn't at the scene physically, his bail was set at a massive $2 million. And just like that, the rising star behind Harlem's wave movement found himself staring at the possibility of spending the rest of his life locked up. While Max sat in that cold cell, time seemed frozen for him, but the world outside kept spinning. And out there, Jim Jones, the same man who once called Max his brother, was suddenly everywhere.
Lister.
Okay.
Anybody that got a sack, pause. Look me up, I'm gonna get you right.
Jim had just dropped We Fly High, better known to everyone as Ballin', and the track blew up instantly. It turned into a worldwide anthem and became the biggest hit of his career, officially pushing him into solo superstar status. But inside those prison walls, Max was hearing something completely different. He claimed he was the one who actually wrote We Fly High, and that rumor started spreading through the streets like wildfire. According to Max, he was the one who ghost-wrote that hit and a bunch of Jim's biggest records. He claimed the hooks, the melodies, even the ad-libs all came from his creativity. And while Jim was on TV doing interviews, celebrating success, and stacking money, Max was stuck in a jail cell fighting for his future, watching someone else shine off a sound he said he helped build. After 10 long months waiting behind bars, Max finally caught a break.
MaxB.
Okay.
Max, suck dick. Fuck out of here.
All right.
His bail got knocked down to $90,000, meaning he could actually get out. But that's when things took a messy turn. He needed help, and Jim stepped in. But people around Harlem said it wasn't out of loyalty or brotherhood. Word on the streets was that Jim agreed to help Max post bail only if Max signed over his publishing rights and locked in for 6 albums under Bird Gang. It felt like a lifeline on the surface, but underneath, it looked more like a trap. Max was stuck, desperate, and running out of options, so he signed the paperwork. That deal gave Jim full control over Max's publishing, while Max walked out of jail with temporary freedom. But his entire future was now in the hands of the man he used to trust the most. When MaxB stepped out of jail in July 2007, he wasn't the same person who went in. Prison had changed him. The smile was still there, but behind it was someone colder, sharper, and carrying a deep sense of betrayal. He was broke, frustrated, and locked into a deal that took away nearly everything he had worked for. And as he started gaining more attention outside, Max came to a realization. If Jim wasn't going to give him the respect he felt he earned, then he wasn't staying silent anymore. He was ready to push back, ready to stand his ground, and ready for whatever came next. When Max said he was declaring war, he wasn't playing at all. He wasn't just fighting for credit, he was fighting for respect, for ownership for his name, and for everything he felt was taken from him. He walked away from Bird Gang and started planning his next moves carefully. If Jim was going to make money off anything connected to him, Max was determined to make sure everybody knew his side of the story. Nothing was off limits. That's when French Montana stepped into the picture. Back then, French wasn't the hit-making star everybody knows today. He was a street figure known for his Cocaine City DVD series, a raw, unfiltered look at life in the Bronx. French already had some tension with Jim after a past shooting situation created rumors and bad feelings, so when Max and French connected, it wasn't just about making tracks, it was personal. It was about getting even. Together, they built the crew called Wave Gang, also known as The Wave, and it became way more than a music team. They were the underdogs taking shots at the industry from the underground, and they weren't scared of anybody. Max knew he didn't have big labels backing him, but he did have the streets behind him heavy.
Conway, a prostitute who'd been with Plowden, told her boyfriend, Charlie Wingate, a.k.a. MaxB, a rapper, about the men's money.
So he started flooding the block with non-stop mixtapes, dropping track after track, giving out music for free just to make sure the world heard the voice that the industry tried to quiet down. But he didn't stop with just the music. He kept pushing, building momentum, and making sure his presence stayed loud. Max flipped his whole feud with Jim Jones into straight-up entertainment. Every interview, every song, every appearance, he was throwing shots with confidence and style. The first big hit came with his mixtape Public Domain 3. The cover alone told the story. Max standing in a graveyard next to tombstones labeled Millie, Jim Jones, and Vanilli Jules Santana, calling them out as fake, just like the lip-syncing duo Milli Vanilli. Then the bars came in heavy. Max rapped, "I know them dudes need me. I was giving them the loot, but them dudes done blew it." He was making it clear he felt he built that sound, and that without him, they were lost out there. The track shook Harlem, and suddenly everybody was picking sides. Jim had the fame, but Max had the streets behind him strong. But Max wasn't done, not even close. He started hitting their reputations and going straight for the pressure points. One of the wildest moments came when he dropped the track She Touched It in Miami. This wasn't just a diss, it was flat-out disrespect, the kind meant to sting. On the track, Max claimed that Jim's longtime partner, Chrissy Lampkin, had been intimate with him, and he rapped, "She sucked it in Miami while Big Ellie hit it from the back in her fanny."
Fort Lee Holiday Inn. Police are called there after a man is shot to death. The victim, David Taylor from Florida, was staying in room 2.
Max even brushed it off like it was nothing, laughing in interviews and calling Jim emotional, saying Jim just couldn't handle what he called the truth. Jim Jones, on the other hand, looked blindsided by how far things went. He didn't see any of this coming, and when Max started throwing these public shots, Jim tried to keep his cool, acting like the claims didn't bother him and downplaying Max's importance in his career. But by then, the whole city was watching, and the feud had turned into something way bigger than music. Jim started hitting back in interviews, calling Max a bitter rapper who never made it big, and saying he was just another artist who couldn't handle how the industry works. He even denied Max had anything to do with We Fly High, insisting he wrote his own hit. But the streets weren't buying that at all. People had already heard old reference tracks floating around, and Max's voice was all over them. Little by little, the conversation shifted. Fans started asking real questions about how much of Jim's success, especially during the Dipset era, came from his own skills versus the people around him helping shape the sound. The whispers got louder and the tension between both sides kept growing. Meanwhile, Max wasn't slowing down one bit. He moved like someone who was ready for pressure from anybody. He started speaking openly, saying the beef wasn't just music, it was personal, and it felt real to him. Max even claimed there was a moment when Jim Jones and his crew tried to catch him in a parking lot, blocking his car with a Bentley. According to Max, he spotted what was happening, stepped on the gas, bumped the car out of the way, and even threw a few punches before getting out of there. French Montana and a few people close to Max publicly backed his version of the story too, and soon the whole situation turned into street legend territory. At that point, the feud wasn't just two artists taking shots, it had grown into a full-blown saga that everybody in the city was watching.
How you think he got so hot? Came out with all them tapes. I did that. I put them hooks together.
Then came November 2008, the moment that took everything to a whole new level. Max and French decided they weren't just going to talk anymore. They were going to pull up on Jim directly. They rolled deep into Manhattan and walked straight into the building where Jim was recording, ready to send a loud message. The streets weren't guaranteed safe for Jones anymore, not when the wave was outside. Max later claimed that when Jim realized what was going down, he called the police. Whether that was true or not, the claim alone hit Jim's reputation hard, because in that world, being accused of calling authorities during a beef was one of the harshest labels you could catch. Not long after that, their crews crossed paths again at a club in Brooklyn, and things exploded fast.
I made the credit. I made the hooks. I made the melodies. Yeah. I made the shit, dog. I'm the man.
The fight turned wild. Chairs flying, bottles breaking, people scrambling, and officers with canines rushing in to shut everything down. It was chaos from every angle. By the time everything calmed down, Max had done more than just feud with Jim. He had completely flipped the whole storyline. Jim started becoming a punchline, someone people joked about, while Max turned into a cult hero. The streets viewed him as a raw, fearless voice who didn't need a big label or corporate machine behind him to make noise. But while the music kept dropping and the legend kept growing, the law was still moving quietly in the background. The case from that failed robbery years earlier was finally reaching its end, and when the verdict came down, it shocked everybody.
Ram it up his ass, pause, and rammed him up. Boom, I hit him. So he can all this.
Max was sentenced to 75 years in prison. The entire hip-hop world froze. Fans couldn't believe what they were hearing. It felt like the wave had crashed before it ever got the chance to fully rise. While fans were hurting over Max's sentence, it seemed like Jim Jones was celebrating behind the scenes. From his point of view, it probably felt like he had made the ultimate business move. Max was locked up, his voice was quiet, and Jim still held the publishing rights to Max's music. It looked like Jim believed he finally came out on top. But in May 2010, everything flipped again. A judge ruled that Jim Jones no longer had control over MaxB's music career. The court said Max had completed the terms of both his 2005 and 2007 contracts, which meant he was officially free from Jim's hold. That decision changed everything. Then came the real miracle. Max's massive 75-year sentence started getting reduced. First, it dropped to 20 years, then later to 12, and little by little, he started seeing real hope again. And now, after all those years, the man who created a whole wave even while sitting behind bars is finally home again. But the moment word got out that Max was close to being released, the internet jumped straight into drama mode. As always,
Still was there. He tried to grab me. So when he came in the window, I punched him in his face.
Familiar rumors popped up, whispers about snitching. These accusations always seem to show up anytime a rapper finds a way to beat or reduce a heavy sentence, and Max's situation was no exception. This time, the person pushing that talk the loudest was none other than Wack 100, stirring things up the second Max's name started trending. The noise online got wild fast, and people were already picking sides again. According to Wack, he said he had paperwork proving that Max cooperated with law enforcement while locked up. In his interview with Vlad TV, he claimed he had documents showing Max sat down with officials and shared info that helped shrink his original 80-year sentence. Wack even said Max gave details about a woman involved in the situation, including where she worked, and that this supposedly played a role in getting his time reduced. He also said he spoke with people close to Max who confirmed the story, and that there was even video out there that could be damaging if it ever came out. But here's the problem. Nobody besides Whack 100 has ever seen this so-called paperwork.
They ain't know we was out this early.
And even he admitted he doesn't personally know MaxB or have any real connection to him. So a lot of folks saw the whole thing for what it looked like. Another moment of someone trying to stir up attention using somebody else's name. Fans jumped in fast to defend Max, calling Whack's claims straight clout-chasing talk. Most people didn't care about the rumors anyway. They were just happy to see Max free, smiling, moving around, and getting his life back. Now that MaxB is finally home, the big question in the air is whether he's stepping back into music and if this new generation will show him the same love the earlier one did. The game is different now, but one thing hasn't changed. The streets don't forget their legends. For now, Max looks like he's soaking up every second of his freedom, reconnecting with the people who held him down, feeling the love everywhere he goes, and finally enjoying the life he waited so many years to see again. If you rocked with this breakdown, make sure you like, subscribe, share, and drop a comment to keep the wave going.